So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, guys, to another video. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Arsalan. I'm the owner of a multiple six-figure agency here based in London, and we work with predominantly e-commerce and info product niches. That being said, in today's video, I wanted to address the topic of when should you outsource your agency. Now, when it comes to this topic, a lot of people have their own opinions as to when they should outsource the agency, when they should outsource their ads, when they should outsource this, when they should hire a person for X and X and X. And I like to think that I have a slightly different opinion when it comes to this. Now, there's a lot of videos online saying, you should outsource in SMMA, you shouldn't outsource in SMMA, why you don't need to know how to do Facebook ads to outsource, etc., etc. There's a plethora of YouTube videos that go into detail of why you shouldn't outsource at this time, why you should outsource at that time, and all that information can be kind of confusing. So I wanted to put this into my perspective from an agency owner who's been in the game for more than 3 years now and has a pretty good idea in terms of experience and also real life examples of why I think and when you should and should not outsource. Now, the short answer is to do you outsource your SMMA agency and, the different roles within is yes. You have to, because if you want to scale, you're going to have to outsource. You're going to have to delegate tasks. That is what a smart business owner does. And that is what any successful business does. They hire staff to handle tasks. You want to be working on the business and not in the business. It's one of my favorite sayings. Now, that being said, most of you are going to be wondering, when should I outsource Facebook ads? When should I actually outsource the deliverable aspect of my service that I've promised to a client that I've signed? And the answer for me, in my own personal and professional experience, that you should learn and at least have a good understanding of how to do Facebook ads before you outsource to somebody else. I'll give you an example in terms of my own situation as well as what I tell my one-on-one coaching students. When it comes to Facebook ads, if you put in the work initially when you have that first client, when you have that second client, and you're doing the ads all on your own, or you have maybe a mentor or somebody that you hire as a consultant that comes in and jumps on and helps you with ads, or at least teaches you how to do ads, it's a great way to build your understanding of how the whole service works. If I was to jump on a Loom call with a potential prospect or a potential new client, and sometimes they do ask me questions on Facebook ads. They say, how would I go about this situation? How would I do this? What do you suggest? We've tried working with an agency in the past. This is what happened. We tried working with a freelancer in the past. They didn't really deliver. What would you do differently? And this is when that experience of knowing your own craft comes in handy. Because when you actually know the thing that you are talking about, you talk about it with such more confidence than you would if you were to not know what Facebook ads were and you just outsourced it from the beginning to a contractor who did everything.
Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible.
And yes, there's the argument of you could have your contractor on that call with you. But look, it's just not the way I recommend you run an agency. And this doesn't just apply to Facebook ads. This applies to any aspect of the business. If you want to delegate your outreach, but you have no clue on how to do outreach yourself, how are you going to go ahead and build that system? Because at the end of the day, nobody is going to care more about your own agency than the owner, than you yourself. So it is your duty almost to ensure that you have that knowledge in place so then you can build appropriate systems out of it to give to your contractors, to give to your outsourcers and to your team members. A primary example of this is when I first hired my first freelancer, I think over 2 years ago now, I was monitoring how he was doing ads. And throughout the process, he was kind of very quiet. He would do the work done, but he was very quiet in terms of what he was actually doing. So one day I decided to check in on him and I saw that he was running a lookalike audience, but the lookalike audience wasn't actually working properly because it was targeting the wrong people from a different country. And therefore the impressions, the cost per clicks, everything was basically way too high and it made no sense to continue running that campaign and that ad set. So I mentioned it to him and he was like, oh, my bad, I must have missed that. And this is the thing, if I had no knowledge whatsoever prior to running my own Facebook ads for clients, I would not have been able to catch that mistake, and that client might have ended up wasting hundreds, if not thousands upon thousands of dollars and pounds running an ad that would result into nothing or very minimal results for them, and therefore I'd most likely lose that client very early on into the process. And Hopefully now you guys are starting to see from like when I'm giving these real life examples why it's so important to actually know the craft before you go and outsource. Similarly, when I outsourced my outreach, it comes to the point where every agency operates differently. The way they outreach to clients is different to how maybe that freelancer was used to outreaching for another agency that they worked with, or maybe they've never worked with an agency at all, so they have no clue on how the outreach systems and processes look like for you and how you want it done. So what will happen is, if they're good and if they really care and they're genuine, they're going to end up making their own systems and SOPs. However, that's not always the case. A lot of the time you'll find that you are the one who's going to be responsible for giving them guidance. At the end of the day, you are a business owner, and when you hire people to be members of your team, they're members for a reason. Most of the time when you hire a member, it's because they don't want that how to say, they don't want that responsibility of being the business owner. When you work under somebody, you have that comfort blanket of knowing that, hey, you're getting paid as long as you do a job. It doesn't matter how you do that job, and you don't have to worry about putting into systems in place. And again, I'm fortunate enough now to have a team that is great. They take their own initiative. But till this day, I still have days where I catch them out and I say, hey, how about we try it like this? Why don't we do it like that? And suddenly they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. And this is with the team that I've had for years now. So it just goes into highlighting just how important it is to take that initiative and actually know the craft before you outsource it. Because not only will it benefit you in terms of hiring better talent, it will benefit you from saving you money, from saving your clients money, that's for sure, and also just saving you a headache. Because there's so many people out there that they say that they can do things and they end up just over promising and under delivering. And that not only applies to some agencies out there, it applies to a lot of freelancers who are out there. So you do have to be a little bit cautious when you hire. And now to go back to the question of when you should outsource, I think you should outsource when you have a good fundamental, if not even better than that, knowledge of the actual thing that you're looking to outsource. So when it comes to Facebook ads, you should have a good understanding of Facebook ads before you go ahead and outsource it to someone. If you want to outsource your outreach methods, make sure you have an amazing system and understanding of how you do that outreach and why it's done the way you do it before you go ahead and outsource it to somebody. If you want to outsource how it is your team is ran and controlling your team or client communications, make sure you have a system in place for how you talk to clients or how you manage your team, so that when you do outsource somebody, that you can just tell them like, hey, this is how it's done. This is my standard operating procedures. This is how I like it done. This is the standards of work that I expect. Not necessarily in the exact way that I just said it, but essentially giving them that brief, and then they'll be able to go ahead and do their job, and you'll be able to hire somebody who fits the role that you're looking for in the best way possible. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. It's going to be a short one, but I just wanted to get this out because I do get asked this question quite a lot, and the information out there is a little bit confusing, and it's hit or miss in terms of different people's opinions. Again, this is just my personal opinion on the way that I've ran my agency, and clearly it's worked really well. I've been super busy this week working on some amazing projects that I cannot wait to release to you guys. It's going to be in benefit for you guys, and that should be out hopefully by the end of the week. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you go ahead and turn on post notifications and subscribe if you haven't already, as it helps the algorithm so much. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.